All right, so we're moving on to the next chapter on this project. So we have some rust, a decent bit. I've ordered some new kick panels, new floor pans, outer rockers. This one is dented up pretty good right there. Also, just judging by that, I kind of assume my inner rocker would be toast also. Crawling up underneath it confirms that. Got new cab corners. So, with that being said, I have to rip off this front clip. Plus, I need to replace this inner fender anyways. So, now we get to tear everything apart, which I already have the bed off. That's going to be another video. So we've got some work to do back there. So I'm going to try something new. I'm going to set up a time lapse. We're going to see how that looks. Say the firewall, that floor pan, the firewall is in really good shape on this truck. Same with the frame. Most of the factory coating is still on it. It just honestly needs to be cleaned up, and I'll probably recoat it with some Port 15. Body mounts, yep, they're non-existent. This core support, it's got a little bit of cancer. Battery tray was on the side of the truck. I mean, it's to be expected. It kind of is what it is. These 81 single headlight radiator supports, all the ones that I could find, were pretty expensive. Which this one really is only bad in this area. But I have some 16 gauge steel. So I'll probably cut back to here and here and just make me a new bottom plate, box it in, put some rev nuts up here, and then we should be good to go. I mean, the rest of it, it's got some surface rust, but it's not really pitted too bad, and hardly any of the other places. So yeah, we'll probably just clean this one up and let it ride. Alright, so got an update. Kind of forgot that I was needing to film anything. Went ahead and took off my AC system because I noticed a little bit of rust peeking through on this bottom side. So I'm going to have to run a patch panel on the firewall. Fuck you, Kyle.
Oh yeah?
But my replacement floor pans had little humps right here that wasn't lining up with my floorboard. So I went ahead and cut those off. This upper section it's looking pretty decent. As far as the floor pan goes, I think that might be savable. But for now, we're going to cut out this section and separate this area to where we can actually slide this down in it. Get everything lined up, measure it out, and then mark it where we need to cut it. Alright, so I've made some progress. I'm going to stop right here to kind of talk a little bit, because this is the biggest thing that scared me away from doing this by myself for all these years. And that is, any video I've ever watched, it just says, okay, remove the floor pan. Yeah, no shit. Taking the metal out because it's rusty. How the fuck do I do that? No one ever explains it. I mean, some people might, but maybe I just haven't seen it. I'm not too great with computers. But anyways, so the biggest thing that I've discovered is get you a cheap, compact Harbor Freight chisel, or air chisel. So I've ground this down to where it's kind of a sharp edge, to where it can cut through metal if it needs to. And I started in the front, and I'm basically just trying to get enough of this material out to where I can lay my floor pan in, get me some markings around it so I can cut that out. And I'm basically going to lay the floor pan, kick panel, inner rocker, then outer rocker. But I gotta start with my floor pan, I think. Not 100% sure, but that's the way I'm doing it. So I tried to find all of my spot welds on this outside seam. There's gonna be 3 layers. One's the inner, one is the floor pan, one's the kick panel, and one is this. Now, I beat it up pretty bad. I don't think it's necessary to beat it up that bad, but I got a little rough with it. So, beat the living daylights out of it. I'm good with that. I can always beat it straight, then weld everything that I massacred. I mean, it's got to be done anyways. So, as far as separating it, I just started in the front with my air chisel, kind of just bent it out a little bit, and then I ran my drill bit so I could kind of see where the spot welds were. So once you pry on it a little bit, you'll start seeing the divots a bit more pronounced, and then you can just hit those with a drill bit. You'll have to figure out the right size because they all seem to be different size holes. So pry it out, find my little divot there, then I'd hit it with my drill bit, and then it was much easier to separate. Did the same with my floor pan. My brace is actually in really good condition, so I'm going to save that. Not replacing that. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. Went ahead and cut the inner and outer rocker panels off. My floor pan does not cover this area, but I've got some 16 gauge. I guess I'll cut that up and bend it around and just tack it into place. I mean, I'm running carpet, so for me it doesn't exactly have to be perfect. But when I cut these off, I kind of kept in mind that I'm going to have to come in. I need something to kind of use as a guide to get everything back somewhat in the location it was beforehand. So, paid close attention and closed my eyes and just zip, zip. And that should leave me enough of that curve there to actually locate where I need to put that outer rocker panel. Floor pan, I mean, it just is what it is. Get it in place and tack it up. As long as it's hitting this brace, we're good to go. which beat that up pretty good too. So we'll have to work on that some. But I mean, that's the biggest thing. Any of the videos I've ever watched, it just like says cut it out and remove it. Well, it's not really the case. I mean, how do you cut it out? What tools do you use? Just a cutting wheel and an air chisel. Doesn't have to be expensive. I'm running that off of a 26-gallon tank, I think. I mean, it does good. I have to give it a rest a little bit here and there, but not too bad. But from here, I guess I'm gonna clean this up a little bit to where my floor pan, it'll be all right. I'll just beat it down some more. So I'm gonna lay my new floor pan in, which for some reason it came with some humps, so I had to cut those off. So they weren't lining up. My floor's completely flat up there. I had a little hump here and a hump there, so I just got rid of that, which I think, yeah. So we are, we're ready to do that thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down, and I actually learned this off of Script Garage. That dude, gosh, it's great for the car community. I'm going to lay it down and then spray paint the edges, and it's going to give me that perfect line up. I'll cut directly on the line, and that's going to give me about 1/16 of an inch gap, which will be perfect for running my tacks and then my stitch welds. So here's what I was talking about. Basically, got it about where I want it. Kind of trial and error that. Had to cut out a little bit more metal because it was it's really in my way. So use some self tappers, just hold it flat. These things do not come with the perfect bend just to sit down on the floor. These are replacement panels, not drop in. Which replacement, you butt weld, drop in, you just, like it says, drop it in, self tap it, or plug weld it. But got a little overzealous with my cut here. This is more of what I was talking about earlier. So I find little divots, and I just hit them with the drill bit. Try not to go all the way through, because you can kind of see where I hit the bracing pretty good there. But makes it a whole lot easier to chisel it out if you do that. So hopefully that helps somebody else out. I mean, like I said, that was the biggest concern for me when I was diving into this. Accumulating quite a pile of scrap metal. Big old sledgehammer. But the floor pan's out. You can see where some of my drilling got a little too excited there. So what we're going to do from here, I'm going to bust out the welder, and I'm going to kind of fill these divots in, you know, just hide our mistakes a little bit. So fill those in with some tacks. Then I'm going to clean everything up pretty smooth. Then we'll start cleaning up our edges, tack our floor pan. Since I probably never see the top side of the frame again, went ahead and recoated that. Used some rust reformer on my brace. Bottom side, well, I still need to paint this side, but I've got to get this crap out of the way. Bottom side's going to get recoated when I do the rubberized undercoat, so it'll be good. But yeah, we are almost ready to throw the floor pan back in. Getting pretty excited. The floorboard is officially tacked in. I got off on some of my gaps. I think whenever I painted up my lines, I didn't really push in the floorboard down into this seam too well. Floorboards came a little bit flatter, had to bend them, kind of push them down in there really good. So, got some gaps that are bigger than I'd like. So, I'll have to patch those in. But, tacked into place. So now, moving on over here to my to my cab corner. So I'm gonna try something new. So this yellow line is about where my rocker panel is gonna stop. So my cab corner is rusted all the way to about right here. So I've had to beat my lip down here straight. Got clamped on. I'm gonna go a few inches higher than that. I'm just gonna use my cutoff wheel and zip through this metal and the metal layer underneath. And I was watching another YouTube video. I can't remember the guy's name, but kind of like an old country boy. This is how he was doing it. He was just like setting the panels up into place and then just clamping them down, and he was cutting through both pieces to where he still had a gap, but it also kept everything straight and where he wanted it. So I think I'm gonna mimic that because it seemed to work quite well. And then from there, I really gotta figure out something here. That's not gonna cut it. That is super flimsy, so I'm probably gonna have to come up into here, and that bend is gonna suck. I'll just square it off there, kind of beat something into submission. I'm not sure. Look at this mess. Awesome. So I've got that thing out, whatever it's called, cab corner. The outer rockers, I trimmed them up to about right there so that I can put my new rocker in place. I'm actually going to align my rocker with my door seam, but first, these door pins, actually, they don't seem bad. Gonna replace them eventually though. Oh, that one's got a lot of movement in it. So, yeah, I'll probably just let those ride for now. I mean, it is what it is as far as that goes. So yeah, gonna mount my my doors up. Got new strikers on them. So I'm basically just going to get everything in place to where I like it. Get my seams good. Get those that lower seam good. And then I'm gonna cut the rest of it off. And then I'm gonna be ready to prepare that little section. Start tacking everything together. Okay, so with the help of my ATV jack, super dirty floor, got my door hung. Door pins, not that great. I'll have to wrestle with those later on, readjust the hinges and everything, but that's going to be like a final fitment kind of deal. But which it is tilted inward a little bit. I also don't have any seals, and like I said, I have a lot of final adjustment to do with these guys. But basically what I've done is kind of set up a gap, and that gap is basically going to be my guide. So got it fairly even across the board. This is tucked in because there is that outer rocker is still in the way, so that's not great. But what I'm really looking for is the bottom. which is it's looking pretty good. I do believe I can live with that, so I'm going to take this time. Let me open up the door. And I'm just gonna run my saw blade directly above that. That's what I did on this outer rocker, which I will say, make sure you cut a straight line. Don't do what I did there, because everything lines up great doing that. But if you do a little kick action like I did there, it's gonna get a little wonky, which I think all that will clean up decently. So yeah, I'll just zip the saw blade on the top of it. It's gonna give me plenty of clearance and a gap to actually get some weld down in it. I like it. It's all coming together, I guess. So yeah, nothing to do but take this door off and do some more cutting. Oh yeah, I had to shave, so I look like a 13-year-old again. Posted a video on TikTok, and the support in this, I mean, I was having a bad day, which I did have to. I was waiting in a line for about 5 hours, so I had plenty of time to kill. Posted a little video talking about anybody else ever regret doing stuff like this, and just the fact that so many people commented on it, saying like, hey, you got this, don't give up. You know, the internet's it's a crazy place, a lot of negativity. Just the fact that there were some positive people on there saying good things, like being supportive, being motivated, it's awesome. I mean, gives me some hope for the car community. It's been a long day. I got quite a bit done though. After I made my cuts, got everything lined up, finished welded this in. It's a lot of tacks. Just tack, 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 tack. I don't know. Internet told me to do it that way. Unfortunately, I had to cut out a good portion of this corner here, and I have no tools to actually like bend metal like that, or at least not form it. So I did the best I could. I tack, 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 and then do some convincing with a hammer. Use cardboard to kind of get my shapes. I've got some big gaps in there, so a lot of welding left to do. But you see my spot welds there from the bottom. Much more. Man, good thing this is just YouTube and I'm not a professional or anything. I was hoping with it being my first time it'd go by quicker, but I guess that's not how it works with this. But anyways, yeah, that thing, the rocker is in, floor pan, patch panels. Also, I replaced a kind of like a backward 7 piece of metal on my firewall there. I did not go back with factory holes or anything, so this is most likely going to be replaced by a vintage air unit, hopefully. That's the plan, at least. So for now, all I'm really going to do is throw some rust preventative primer over that. Not going to mess with the floor pans anymore. So, for when I've made a mess, this place is it's bad. Kind of losing it with all the disorder and chaos. But we're getting things done. Got one more day to work on this. So I believe, oh yeah, had to replace that too. I need to come through and grind some of that weld off some more. And got some spot welds. Got another big gap there. Awesome. Another big gap. Good gap. Big gap. Another good gap. So anyways, I'm hoping now that I kind of have an idea of how all of this works and goes together, that other side's not going to be so bad. The rust is not nearly as bad as it was over here. All the panels are finish welded, tack welded, everything. Anytime I tried to stitch weld, it would blow right through it. And I'm pretty sure I warped that floorboard. But, you know, it's all part of the learning process, I suppose. So, yeah, gonna need lots of Bondo back here. This panel, or this cab corner, is longer. Or wider, I guess I should say, than what the factory shape is. So I've got to cut that off. Basically, I'm going to make a template from that side, transfer it over, zip that off. So you'll notice I didn't quite take the weld all the way down. This metal's thin. I'm not a great welder. Actually, I wouldn't even call myself a welder at all. I'm just a dude that is trying to explore some new horizons. So with that being said, I basically just got it close, and I'm gonna beat that in with a hammer, because I know for sure with some sanding blocks I can get things smooth. So I think for me that's the safest bet. Yeah, I gotta pull that back out. Got a little aggressive with the hammer, but yeah, that is pretty much it. See where I scabbed in a strip all across that bottom. This little section here, it got a little crazy. So basically, my goal was to get it in place. I'm not going to grind it perfectly smooth because I'm actually going to run seam sealer on all of this anyways. So my goal was just to get it in here, get it secure. I'm going to paint it with Pour 15 first. Then I'm going to come back and use some seam sealer on it. Got that firewall patch that I still have to paint. So that's pretty much it. I mean, driver's side is just going to be more of the same. But unfortunately, I've got to pack up the shop. Had a goal. I even bought a lot of unnecessary things because I planned on accomplishing that goal, but it does not seem like it's going to happen. Basically, my goal was to get the body panels or the patch panels in, get the front clip back on, and then cut down a drive shaft from the junkyard and do a burnout in the shop. Basically, just want to do a burnout in the shop before I have to pack up this project for a bit. I will be unable to work on it for 3 to 6 months. I've had some things come up, so I've got to go handle that. Then whenever I get back, I'm going to get right back into this thing. So this is pretty much how it's going to sit. Which it is unfortunate, but you know, that's the way life goes. But good news is, frame's all painted up. You know, mechanically, it's pretty much solid, ready to go. But I've got to finish this cosmetic stuff. Continue treating on the rust before I can do anything else. I didn't want to just slap it together, to be honest with you. It'd just be more time and labor, and I mean, I really want to do this as right as I can with my ability. So we're going to pack things up, and I know it's sad, but I'll be back out here soon enough. We'll get this thing knocked out, and I don't know. I mean, when it's done, I really don't have any plans for it. I know I don't plan on keeping it forever. So my biggest thing is I've got the 79 that I redid with my nephew, which we didn't have to do a lot of rust repair on that. I've got my C10, love that, never gonna get rid of it. I don't really need a two-wheel drive, but this truck, I wanted to do some rust repair. I wanted to restore one. So, I mean, really, I just wanted to use this to learn from so I can do some more. So, we need to save these trucks, as many as we can. So, yeah. I appreciate the views. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'm going to unfuck this shop and get out of town. See ya.
Everywhere. Like they don't just like drag cars, honestly, or
Much better. Got the shop about as cleaned up as I can get it right now. Gotta get rid of that seat. Maybe I'll put it in the new attic space. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm gonna start piling some stuff up in here. Needing a bed. Nice little fish plate. You can't even tell they got cut in half. Looks great. So yeah, this is gonna be it for a few months. Not bad progress. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy that's trying to learn this stuff. So, yep, it's there. Got everything underneath it, undercoated. So that's good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Firewall is it's there. Wires galore. Just gonna sit right there for gosh, it's gonna be a while.